Alright guys, so I'm driving home from work, and I swear it's dumped at least 6 inches of snow or not more on the ground. So driving home at probably like 30 miles an hour. The only thing that a rear diff doesn't like more than having like a 33 on one side and a 31 on the other is when you've got a four-wheel drive system. It's got 3 31s and 1 33. So yeah, it's not super. You can definitely feel it kind of surging and stuff, so running it in the old auto. But yeah, driving home right now and the snow is probably not the smartest thing, but maybe I figured we could count all the cars in the ditch, because that's definitely a thing out here. Already passed a big semi that tows like big trucks when I was leaving work. So definitely pretty crazy. But we're only going 30 miles an hour right now. You know, and I'm following this little Tacoma, who's actually being a pretty honest driver right now. But anyway, I'm kind of under the weather. It's a little night shift, off the weekend, working 3 days, off again. It's been definitely messing with me. So is this weather. But that being said, pretty much one of the things I want to talk about tonight is one of my favorite Subaru build channels, Subi-Performance. Subi-Performance are these German guys who build all these engines, and and then they do teardowns and stuff. There's not very many companies that I see doing teardowns, letting you see kind of what the failures were of these motors. You know, if it was what a rod looks like, what's bad, or what a bad ringland failure looks like, or any of that other stuff. So that's super cool. Definitely one of my favorite reasons for watching that channel. Today, I was watching it, and one of the things they had was, you'll have to forgive the windshield wipers, I just can't drive without them. But one of the things they had today was a USDM built car. It was like a 2015 STI. It's actually a car from the United States, and the owner of the car brought this car over to Germany to basically play on the Autobahn or whatever. Well, while he's fucking around, and this car's supposedly making in the mid 750 wheel horsepower or whatever, while he's screwing around with this thing, he ends up blowing the engine in it. And so brings it to Subi-Performance for the teardown, and I believe they're going to build an engine for it. So anyway, so what ended up happening was, this was a dart and sleeve block, and the sleeve block, they didn't really check the bore clearances on the very bottom half of the cylinder, and the bore clearances were down to 4 to 6 thousandths tighter than the rest of it. And I don't know if that's what caused the rod bearing to fail. That was the ultimate failure. But the interesting thing was, you could just see where between the machine work and the assembly, like all these places where these corners are cut. So I'm trying to slow down to let this guy in this 350 pass me, but this Toyota's taking up all the road. Go ahead, bud. Get up there, bud. Guys are in a hurry. Anywho, so the cool thing was, we tore this motor down. It's interesting to see that. And kind of talking with Keith about it, you know, since he's a motor builder and whatnot, see kind of what his take was. And for me, like, I was thinking, like, there's a lot of money spent in this motor. Manly forged crank, big rotated precision turbo, Cosworth intake manifold. It's a dual ABCS motor, of course. Dart and sleeves, really nice looking rod. Kind of cheap pistons, or like the manly pistons, like what the IAG uses. But ultimately, pretty high dollar build. And then spent all the money to come all the way over to Germany. Definitely, like, sucks for the dude to spend that much money to have those kind of problems. But so anyway, so that kind of got me thinking about what do motors cost, you know? What's Subi-Performance kind of charge? What does IAG charge? What does RCM charge? Roger Clark Motorsports. You know, what are these engine builders, kind of the more prominent or upcoming engine builders, charge for these engines? So obviously RCM is in the UK, and IAG is in like the United States, and Subi-Performance is in Germany. So kind of like getting a baseline, looked at the IAG, and these are all motors that are basically rated for, say, 700 horsepower. See if I can make a pass on the little Yoda. Yoda's struggling. It's like it's two-wheel drive. Anyway, so kind of baselining these trucks or these motors for like the 700-ish wheel range. So to kind of price that, and these are all American dollars, of course. RCM motor, their big 2-liter, most expensive one, that was $10,000. And that's just for a short block. So a complete short block before short block. Coming down from there, you have a company called P2P Tuning. They look like, for what you get a lot. Forged crank and stuff. I think we're the only ones that actually has a forged crank. But the P2P Tuning, and those guys are in Texas. Their stage 3 block, that's rated for 750 horse or so, was like 6,300. The Subi-Performance 2.5 liter stage 3 block, which is rated for about, they say 550 PS, which I think is about 700 horsepower. That thing, or to the wheels, that thing is rated for, their cost is 6,300. Coming down from there, you've got the Outfront charges about $5,000 or so for their closed deck stage 3, rated for about 700 horse, and then the IAG motor coming in the cheapest at like 4,800 for their closed deck stage 4 motor, rated for 750 horse. Oh, Taurus! There's already cars off the road. But either way, so yeah, you can kind of see that. Oh, we got it. Semi jackknifed on the left side here off the road. Cops. That sucks. Didn't even know what he was trying to do. Not looking good. Probably just trying to stop for the stoplight. And then no dice. So it's kind of interesting to see, like, this other motor that we saw using a forged crank. That's not that common, you know, to people to be spending big dollar money on a forged crank. Whereas you got like this $6,300 Subi-Performance motor is using an OE crank, or the IAG motor using an OE crank. And then whereas you got like P2P Tuning or P2P Racing, anyway, they're running a mainly forged crank. So it makes me wonder, like, what are the differences, or what are the advantages of it? You know, ultimately, with, I'm sure, those forgings, they're probably nice and uniform, but I think, pretty sure that the stock crank's forged. Maybe not. Maybe post down in the comments to correct me, but it's pretty interesting to see just the price variance between the RCM motor, 10,000, all the way down to the IAG motor, 4,800. So definitely see why our IAG has definitely got a big lion's share of the market share, you know, of the motors in the U.S. I don't know that they're the best or not. I've had an IAG motor. They fail just like any of the other ones. You know, you try and do this race car thing, you have problems, and shit happens, but ultimately makes you wonder if is $10,000 too much to spend on a motor? Would it be any more reliable? Or would a, you know, $2,200 RH short block be just good enough to do most of what we do? You know, so definitely something that I've been talking about and I've been thinking about. You know, I'm really appreciative of Keith building this motor for me, but even still, it's going to have its limitations. You know, hopefully 500 wheel, you can pull that off. But if you really think about it, it's 650 crank, and this will likely be on a stock crank, and on stock rods of some sort, and makes you wonder really how much can you really push, how much you really have to spend. Is IAG enough, or do you have to spend 10 grand, or something in the middle like P2P Racing or Outfront or Subi-Performance? Maybe one of those motors in the middle are a good or a better buy. So pretty much all I got to say. Definitely feeling pretty crappy right now. Definitely not very funny. Maybe just funny looking. But just food for thought. Check out the Subi-Performance page, especially if you're in the Subarus. Hell, if you're in any kind of motors, that's super cool to see what they're doing. Really appreciate watching it. It even kind of like reminds me that like I have no idea what I'm doing, especially when it comes to putting the short block together. All the things that they're taking measurements of, they're super badass tools, like for their crank line bore and stuff. Super awesome, and definitely worth checking out. Just watched a lot of these builds, everything from NB Auto down to guys building shit in their driveway, to all the way up to Subi-Performance, building those motors all in-house, doing all the machine work in-house. Super cool. But either way, thanks for tuning in. I'm not even halfway home yet, so this is definitely more of a rough ride compared to normal. But subscribe, like, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.